You're listening to Electrician Live with your host, Paul Abernathy. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Demo Night. My name is Paul Abernathy. And for those that have an event scheduled, welcome to Demo Night. There's a couple of people that we have who are scheduled to come and ask questions or interact about the Fast Trax demo and how it might be beneficial to you. So again, as we go through this, feel free to chime in and ask your questions. And obviously, if there's any questions I can answer about the program, more than happy to answer it. We're starting a new cycle in this program. So it's, January, February, March group is started, and then we have a new group that's starting here in April, May, and June. Okay, so it's a separate set of groups, so the analytics will be totally different for how these students are doing. The January, February, March students are doing very, very well. So, hi, Victor. Thanks for coming. And so I want to be able to answer any questions you might have. Again, there's a lot of people out there that probably still aren't aware of what Fast Trax is, what it's designed to do, and how it's different than other programs that are out there. There's a lot of things you can study with, and it's just another tool to help you study. So if you came to find out more about the Fast Trax program, don't be shy. Chime in and ask your questions, because again, there is absolutely 100% transparency on the program and how it applies. So what we do, just to give you a background, we have multiple books that we use through the Cengage program, and they have an LMS backbone. And we utilize that LMS backbone and utilize their books in order to be able to do this education. Now, what I do as an author for them, as well as a user of their documents, their LMS allows us to go inside and actually modify and change things in order to create programs that are unique, set certain types of metrics in the program so that I can see how students are doing, how their grading is going, so that I can either give feedback or see. So I see everything on our end when it comes to what the student does. So an overview real quick of a Fast Trax program is basically no different than you joining into some type of university or program, whereas you're going to get your own login, you get your own access, you get your own console, and you move through the program at your own pace. Now, you have 365 days to complete it. Hopefully, you're not going to take longer than that, because the whole goal here is to get your license. Now, there are some people that take the program that their goal was not to get their license. They already have their license. But their goal is to increase their knowledge of the National Electrical Code, whether it be on a job site, project management, ownership, or whatever. So again, the Fast Track's good for that too. It's not just an exam prep. It's just built with a lot of questions that tailor it towards exam prep. There's over 1,200 questions overall in the scope of the program itself. Okay. Questions. George has a question. The tutoring. All of the online tutoring that we do through Electrical Code Academy is through me. I'm the only educator in here that's going to do tutoring, okay? I'm very picky about how I teach the code. Now, remember, the Fast Track program is not, you're not getting me, and that's a misconception that people have. We had two different programs. We had one program that was tailored to 90 days, and you got me every week, and we were interactive. The problem is most people can't afford that program, and I can't offer that program at any less, and it was $1,200. And so it came to the realization that that just was not going to be what people could afford. So in order to get the best thing is when we created the Fast Trax, and that other one was called the Ultimate Guide. We created the Fast Trax. You literally interact with me. Code is code. So you interact with me and you ask any of our students, and some of them might jump in tonight that are current students, and feel free to ask a question, or if you're in the chat, you can see what they post. And they can answer questions for you. Again, we have absolutely nothing to hide with the program. It's very much code-based, a lot of reading material. You'll see it as I go through the example here shortly. But there's a lot of questions, and you have what's called competency review. Now, competency review is a way that we can tell whether or not you actually read the material. When I see scores that are in the 50s and the low 60s, there's a good chance that you sat there and really breezed through it, didn't take the time you needed in order to do an adequate job at it. And I'm going to tell you that. And we're not here to coddle an ego. We're not here to massage it. I don't give a damn about any of that. My goal is to help you pass the exam. My goal is to help you understand the code. So if you're looking for a warm and cushy response, you're not going to get it. Not from me. I have a mission, and my mission is for you to learn the code, me to teach you the code, and you be able to convey that to others as well as pass that exam. But it's much more than an exam. The reason we do it this way, and I'll explain the methodology behind the fast track program and what we did, is to help you succeed. That's it. Not to send you books, not to send you DVDs, not to cost you $1,200, but to really give you what you need to succeed and give you a year to access it, 365 days of that year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's it. Okay. Okay, George, sure. Just make, the schedule is, it's specific times that I do it. And of course we have that tutoring online 101 if you're interested in it. And that's all available from our website. Okay. So the methodology. Sometimes I talk too quick. You ever notice that? The methodology of the Fast Tracks program is to hit you in multiple senses. It's to hit you visually. You see it. You see representations with graphics and the visualization. But also you're reading it. And you're reading it, you have the ability also to actually play it audibly while you're reading along. Now, first time this has ever been done, if you tie all of those things together, it really does help you solidify the learning process. And that's what it's all about. I mean, it's hard enough, look, to sit down and grab this book and sit there and read it. If you want to get a book that's going to put you to sleep pretty quickly at night, you want to go to sleep, grab the code book. It will put you to sleep. Not to mention there's terms that are used in here that many people aren't familiar with. So again, it's the way we have to write code books. We can't write them in layman's terms. It just can't, because everybody that sits at the code table are experts in their area. And so it has to be written at that level, because what we don't want is the general public thinking they can grab an NEC and start doing work. This document, the NEC, National Electrical Code, is only for the skilled and trained individual. It's not for Joe Public. Okay? And so it's not like we're writing these words to make it mysterious. It's just logical terms that are used within our industry. Maybe it might be a little more advanced than some people and how they would correlate it to something. But there is a method to the madness. And so that's important that you understand that. So the concept of Fast Tracks is to walk you through it. Now, you have these features. You don't have to use them all, but I encourage people to do that, and I'll show you how to do that if you're interested in the program and you're not in it. There's a process, and I'll show you all that. So let's do some shout-outs real quick. Oh, thanks for coming. I see you, George. Sandra, thank you for coming. And then Victor, again, thank you for coming. All right, and there's a lot of you on there that are watching that might be too shy to comment. Again, we're all family here. You feel free to chime in, introduce yourself, let me know your questions. What's up, Nelson? Let us know what your concerns are so that I can address them. And the other question real quick, somebody asked, will I be doing any exam prep this week on my live streams? Absolutely. I'm planning on doing that Friday evening. So again, it always sucks to do it on an evening, on a Friday. People get off, but my time schedule, it might even be tomorrow evening. I'm not sure yet, because I've got something scheduled that I have to do and have it completed. So it's a project that I have a deadline that came up. So I'm going to do my best. And then what we'll do is we'll go over the competency review like I planned on a couple weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever. We're going to do that. I'm going to do it. Okay. All right. All right. So let's so that's the methodology behind it. Ooh, look, I got it right the first time on that one, is to visualize it, see it, hear it, put it all together, repetition, and then competency review tests you on that. And then you have quizzes, and then you have end of section exams, and then you have final practice exams, and then you have final review exams. All of these things are not to test you for grade. They're to test you for your competency and make sure. Now, we're not going to worry about speed. The only ones that are speed driven are your section exams, because that's overviewing the entire section. And I'll show you in a minute. We'll break it down. They allow you to those are timed. But everything else, there's a reason. And I did find that I could control the times on that and change it. I don't want to. Because if we focus all the time on time, then what happens is people don't put code references, and then they select the choice. And I need you, when you work through a program like this, to give me that code reference and give me that code answer. Because together, that's how I can make an assessment. Now, people ask, is the only program that I know where us in the background are watching your progress? Think about it. If you buy books, if you buy DVDs, if you buy training programs, other thing, is anybody on the backside monitoring your activity? Is anybody on the outside giving you feedback for your competency reviews, telling you what questions you got wrong so that you can go review them? That is what's different. And if anybody says they got something like that, I say prove it, because I have never seen it, and I've been doing this for over 30 years. Okay? We're lucky enough to be able to utilize the Cengage backbone to be able to do this. But of course, we modify and edit all the content for our need. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean you won't come up on a question that's kind of wonky or way out there. Again, the author is responsible for their questions. So what we do is we will send them back to the author. So one of the other questions before we dig into it real quick is people ask, are we on the 2020 edition or are we on the 2017? We are still on the 2017 because the 2020 edition has not been finished. I haven't finished editing it yet, and it is not ready, and we only have one state that is on 2020. Okay? Another question. Can I pass an exam that goes to the 2020 if I'm on the 2017? Absolutely. You can still pass. There's not going to be enough questions that would be wrong that would cause you to not be able to pass. Okay? So that's that part of it. But we expect the 2020 to be out in the next month. But until then, if you start on the 17, no, you can't upgrade to the 2020. You're locked in. Okay? But I can tell you, for most states, you're still going to be testing on the 2017 for the next year or more. Just because it's been published, the 2020, does not mean Texas won't start testing on that until the end of this year. And they're probably going to allow you to test on the 17 or the 20 the same way other states do. Okay, so anyway, that's the whole concept, though, to remember, Fast Tracks is to learn to navigate the NEC. So that when you learn the core fundamentals, the concepts, doesn't matter whether you're grabbing the 17 or the 2020 code, you're going to know how to look things up because you learn those fundamentals. That's what you're going to do. Okay? So it really doesn't matter, really, to be honest with you, what cycle. The reason we go to the next cycle is because logically we're working on those textbooks and we have to move to the next cycle. Okay? Let's see here. DJ, do you have anything that gives you some questions and examples? I'm taking the test next month. We have the Fast Tracks, but again, you're taking it next month. Typically, when people ask me about the Fast Tracks, now let me dispel some things, people that are watching first. Number one, the Fast Tracks type of educational program for exam prep does not get into your state laws. It does not get into OSHA requirements. It does not get into fire alarm or anything like that you might have in your state. I have no interest in it and no desire to offer those. Why? Because there's 50 states and every one of them's different. I know that the National Electrical Code is generally the same through the entire country. I don't have the desire to focus on any specific state's legal requirements. That is usually something that you download from that state's website or testing authority, and it's pretty simple. There's usually only about 5 questions on it, and they're just simply wanting to know that you know the penalties, the rules, the limitations to what you can do as far as your work. All that stuff is pretty simple. I don't waste my time on that, okay? That's something you do as part of your preparation. I teach you, or our program teaches you the National Electrical Code. That's what its function is. That's what it's designed to do, not to teach you those other things. So I get those questions from time to time, not interested in it, okay? So examples. Typically, if somebody asks me, how long does it take, and we'll look at the program, but I want to give you these things up front. They ask us, how long does it take to complete the Fast Trax program? Well, you have 365 days. The completion concept is whenever you need to take the exam. Typically, I tell people it's a 90-day program. That's if you're going to do moderate activity, and that means you're going to do it once or twice a week, and you're going to spend about 2 hours or 3 hours in it twice a week, and then you should have no problem finishing in 90 days. Can you do it in 60 days? Absolutely. Can you do it in 30 days? Probably, but you're going to have to really focus. And again, don't blame the program if you don't succeed. It's on you. There is absolutely no way that you can't pass a National Electrical Code-based exam with this program if you put the time into it. You've got to do it for yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. Remember, there's nobody behind you that's going to be pushing you. You have to push yourself. This is for you. This is not for anybody else, but for you and your family. Getting to the next level is got to be totally within your grasp, okay? Nobody else can do that for you, only you. And you have all the tools. Also, you always have access to me. Any of the students that might be in this program, or even some that are in here, will tell you I am always there to answer questions. Ask any of them. I am always there to give feedback, answer a question, and that's something that you get being in this program. Now, I answer a lot of questions, but I can guarantee you the people that are in my Fast Trax program are the first to get their questions answered because they're part of the program, okay? Anyway, so got that out of the way. The other thing is people ask, is this taught, again, by me every week? And the answer is absolutely not. It's kind of the same deal. You get access to me all the time, and I get to learn who you are. For example, I see Jay in the room. I have this relationship with Jay simply because of our interaction, okay? And that's a little different than you just sending off an email to some random stranger and asking for an opinion, okay? So you get these relationships that you develop, and that type of thing. So, so again, it's all what you put into this program. You're only going to get out what you put in, okay? Let's see here. So DJ, the answer to that is the Fast Trax program can certainly help you. You just have to be very dedicated and devoted to making it happen. And again, there's some people that are in the program that were really diligent, and then life caught up with them, and now they've laxed off a little bit. And then I'm sure they'll come back because, again, you have a whole year to do that. Okay? So, but again, in the program, we have two things also, DJ. We have the exam questions only, which are just access to the exam questions only. The difference in that is there's so small price difference between the exam practice questions and that versus the Fast Trax. It almost doesn't make sense to just go straight with the questions and answer program than it is to actually just go into the Fast Trax program. They cost very close to similar, and when you're in the Fast Trax program, you get access to all of the questions that are in the exam, the Fast Trax program, so you get all that anyway. All right, so let's go on and give it a look at the program real quick so you can see a little bit of what the program's all about. For those that are familiar with it, if you also have any questions, feel free to chime in. Even though the students that have been in this for a while, they still can have questions, just like any of you that are interested in the program. So feel free to ask a question. There is no dumb questions here. This is a okay to ask anything question zone about the topic at hand. Okay, don't be asking me about tripling harmonics in the middle of a demo, okay? That's a little offline, but if it's something about the Fast Trax, feel free to ask it. Okay, so here's the Fast Trax program. And your screen might look slightly different than mine because usually on the left side you have all of your content for logging in and whatnot. But once you get into the program, this will be what it kind of looks like. And you see that it's broken down into sections. Each one of these sections has actual individual units, okay? And these individual units are going to cover all of the topics that run you through the basic necessary information in order to achieve success on an electrical exam, okay? Now, it's not designed to trick you. It's not designed to do something that's, exams, believe it or not, people that write exams do not write these things to try to trick you. I know it might seem that way, and I'm trying to turn off my notice, folks, because I got everybody knows if you've been watching me for any length of time, I have an alarm system on the house, and it's got cameras all over I like to say my compound. But at the end of the day, sometimes I forget to turn them off. I apologize. And it sounds like dogs barking, but that's also my notification alarm. If you're familiar with Ring, you have those little devices, and it acts like dogs are barking. Even though I got dogs, usually when you hear that, that's my dog box. Anyhow, so you have different sections here, and you move methodically through each section. You don't jump ahead. There's a method to the madness here, okay? And so you start out with section 1, and you go through each one of these units, okay? In something that, you go through one, so like for box fill. So everybody has questions about box fill. Here's a video on box fill. And I know some of the early students probably didn't see this because I had forgot to turn it on. Apologize. But there it is. And there's some videos and you have to watch. But let's look at it from the start. So as you start into Unit 1, then you move into Unit 2. Then you finish and you move into Unit 3 and so forth. And you move on down. Okay. Now, interesting enough, Unit 5 is the unit that I have something about pull box sizing rather than under Unit 3, only because Unit 3 is more or less talking about things like box fill when you got 14 gauge, 12 gauge, 10 gauge, 6 gauge, and 8 gauge, things like that. When you get 4 and larger, that tends to be something that's more pull through box or a pull box, and that typically going to be in 314.28. So in order to separate the two to avoid confusion, that's how I've done it there. Now, if you go into Unit 2, for example, you'll have what's called an overview. Make sure it's coming up. Yes. You'll have an overview. You can spend some time in the overview. I wouldn't waste my time in it, to be honest with you. In fact, I have been toying with turning that off in the 2020 edition when it launches. It's okay. Kind of gives you a summary, but again, it's probably 20, 30 minutes of your time you'll never get back, and it's not going to benefit you anything unless you want to see now this is good when people do the demo one for 24 hours because then they can see the overview. But as far as the folks that are in the fast track, I would venture to say none of the guys or gals that are in that program actually probably do the overview, or they look at it one time and go, okay, that's just a course summary for that unit. Probably not worth wasting your time. But what is important is the reading material. Every unit's got reading material, okay? And you methodically go through each of the reading materials. So what I'm going to do first is open up the reading material for Unit 2, because that's just kind of go past Unit 1, and we've done everything, and now in Unit 2. And I'm going to go back to the very beginning so that, because I was working with a student earlier. So, all right, so here you have your objectives. And it's good to read it because it kind of gives you an understanding of what you're going to get in this unit. So you scroll down until you've read everything, and then you've got these arrows. And you click the arrow and you go to the next page. Now, while we're here, there's something interesting that I want to show you. Now, remember what I said about the concept of ballistic training? In a sense that when you get to there, how do you tickle the senses, right? How do you engage yourself so that you're following along? You're not just trying to read it and getting tired. You have to be active, okay? Again, studying is a chore for most people anyway. Okay, and nobody likes to do it, even though it's something that you need to do to achieve something. We just hate doing it. So at the end of the day, let me show you. So here I'm going to left click on my mouse and I'm going to drag this entire area. Now when I do that and I let go, you get this pop up. Now you can make notes to yourself. You can highlight this information, but here's the thing. See this where it says read text? When I click this, it is literally going to read it for me, and I'm going to follow along visually. I'm going to read it in my mind. Well, I don't know it's physically. You are going to read it in your mind, but not out loud, and you're listening to it. So watch this.
What is the difference between accessible and readily accessible? Which is appropriate in a given application? When sizing a branch circuit or feeder, is the electrical load considered continuous or non-continuous? What is the difference between a damp location and a wet location?
Now, this is a concept of what we call the ballistic training, in a sense that I'm reading it in my mind word for word as I'm hearing it, and it causes me to focus on the material. Okay? So statistically, that is what has helped younger children when it comes to the old saying. You probably see it in the old Sesame Street, not that I'm, hey, sometimes I can take a cue from Sesame Street, is the bouncing ball. You follow it along. It makes you read it. You repeat it. You're reading it. You hear it. And it makes sure that you actually cover the material. That's the big thing. You're not paraphrasing. You're not jumping ahead. It's forcing you to cover this material that's highlighted. Now, along the journey, you don't like that voice, you can change that voice. You see the little person up at the top? It looks like a mouth that's speaking into the speaker. That would be this right here. You can change the speed, the cadence of it, the voice. You can also do that over here under read speaker. And you can change it to an Australian, man, woman, whatever your flavor. But you can change how quickly and slowly it goes to meet what you need, okay? So that is customizable, all right? So you do this throughout the entire course at any of the reading material. You simply highlight it on that page, click the read, and it will read it to you, okay? The other thing is you can change the text. So I can go from larger text to smaller text, depending on whether or not you're doing this from a laptop or you have a big monitor or something like that, okay? It's totally up to you and how you do it. Okay, and yeah, you like my voice? Oh, great. Now you're just being funny, Jay. So the concept of it is to really hone in on putting the visual, the hearing it, and following along. But again, it's all about being focused. If I were to get a book from somebody and I were to read this book, how many times have you been halfway through the reading and you've lost the context of what you're reading, or you get lost and you're like, okay, what did I just read? It is a lot harder to do that when you read it using this type of methodology, okay? So that's the one thing that was really exciting about it, okay? All right, so that's that part. Now, as you go through it, you'll see here, I'll just simply click and go to the next one. Now, here's what's unique here. Now, there's only about 4 of us in the country of educators that actually create our own graphics. And most of us use what's called Corel Draw. Now, the author of this book's name is Charles Miller. He's a good friend of mine. And in his book, he uses Corel Draw. So I am very familiar with these graphics, and they are excellent, excellent graphics. So there's different types of learners, right? There's people that can hear something and learn it. There's people that have to do it and touch it with their hands that can learn it. And there's people that need to see it pictorially to meld the two together and get it. Now, obviously, you're doing stuff online, so you're not going to put your hands on it. And hopefully, by the time you're preparing for an exam like this, you already have that hands-on training, or you've got the amount of hours you need. So now you're just trying to correlate the two in order to solidify it in your mind. Well, graphics are wonderful for that. So not only do you have the reading material, but what is unique with Charles is that he actually correlates the definition with a call-out. Okay, for example, behind this luminaire, it's still considered accessible to that wiring method, even though the luminaire is on it. It's still considered accessible. Why? Because I could remove the luminaire to get to it. All right. So again, he illustrates it that way, and it's just so much easier to do that. Now, you don't always need graphics. I'm a big proponent of that. I do a lot of graphics, but a lot of the stuff I do, I don't need graphics, because if I'm doing a podcast or something, I'm trying to work really hard in my mind and not take a shortcut in just popping a graphic. I have to work hard to convey a mental picture of what I'm trying to convey. And that is kind of a unique approach to educators, because everybody's so used to just throwing PowerPoints on the screen and letting them do your talking. I like to, if I can't convey the message verbally, then I feel like I haven't done my own work involved in it. You with me? And so, but when you're doing written work, you need to put the two together. So that's why we love this program with the intermix of the graphics. So as you can see here, there are graphics it's going to call out, okay? All these aspects of it. Now, once you, oh, incidentally, I should tell you, you have 100% rights and access to print out any page you want of this document. And there's certain things in here that you're going to want to print. There's going to be some cheat sheets and some forms that you fill out that you're just flat out going to want to print. So you can print anything that you feel is something that's a difficult topic for you or whatever. You feel free to print it out all you want, okay? You have those rights to do that for 365 days of this program, okay? All right, now, if you look in the program, you're also going to see some what we call guide markers along the way. These are important because a lot of these topics in definitions or even in the code, they're there because they're probably a good chance that you're going to run into those on an exam of some point or in your daily life. So what we do here is working with the author is you have what these called high points, and they are with the chevrons around it, okay? Anytime in our program that you see that, you're supposed to stop what you're doing in the program, go to the National Electrical Code, and look up that definition or look up that code section. And I would even say you should highlight it. Now, can there be too much highlighting in a code book? Absolutely. If I highlight a code book so much that when I turn it to that page, my attention gets drawn to the highlights and I'm not there for a reason, or the highlights becomes totally intrusive that they're not calling out anything unique to me, then that's a problem. Well, through this program, if you just highlight the things that we call out, then you're not going to be highlighting everything. You're going to be calling out key things that are fundamentally important principles that you would be beneficial to understand, because there's a good chance some kind of thing is going to be on the exam revolving around that. So there's a thought process into that. So all through here, you'll see these little chevrons, and they're to go look it up. Okay, go look it up and see what it means. Another thing that you can do here is you see where I highlight this like this. You can add flashcards at any time on anything, okay, that you want. Okay, anything you want to create a flashcard on anything, and we'll show you flashcards a little bit more here in a few minutes, a little bit later. All right, so you just move yourself through this, and here you see example where I have a highlight from another class that I did, all right? And that's 240.24A4, okay? That one is important. So again, that part of the code, that specific section was highlighted, and you just follow along. And so you have all these graphics. So A, we'll talk about this disconnect, which is considered accessible. And of course, B, for example, here is overcurrent devices do not have to be read accessible if located adjacent to the equipment, with access is achieved by the use of a portable means. So we have things in the code that say certain things have to be readily accessible. Then we also have certain areas in the code that say when it's above a certain height that it's not necessarily considered accessible for people to get to it, because you want to keep people away from it. However, if it is considered readily accessible, if you can get to it with portable means, if it's adjacent, or if it's necessary for the operation of the equipment, there's just so many rules, and we start negotiating those between, can you do this, can you do that? And the course is going to set all those things clear for you. But here you see an example. You would need to go read this section in the code because it's in those brackets. See, there's an interaction here. There's an interaction between the lesson material and your code book. And this goes through the program, and that should be how you're utilizing the program. Okay, so you'll see other ones. So there covers quite a few of the definitions. I'll go on and close that so we can move on. Flashcards. Every unit's got flashcards. And flashcards doesn't mean that you really are going to question your knowledge. With the flashcards, they're just something for you to read over and over again, and things start to make sense. So I'll look at a flashcard, for example. And this is Unit 2, so the flashcards are going to be based on the information you're going to learn, like readily accessible. So here you see a flashcard. Now, many people used to know that years ago I talked about taking index cards and making all the flashcards you can, right? Remember I said you should make a flashcard on every article in the code? You should make a flashcard for every, for specific tables in the code, all these type of things. Well, they're easy to make your own, as well as utilize the ones that are in this program. So readily accessible, capable of being reached without resorting to ladders or climbing over obstacles. Of course, in the 2020 code, it's over or under obstacles as well. So this is just one thing that's going to get you in the right place in the code. And there's a bunch of them. Equipment bonding jumper. Click on it. Bonding jumper used to bond equipment. Main bonding jumper. Bonding jumper used to connect the grounded conductor to the equipment grounded conductor at the service. Main bonding jumper could be a screw, a strap, a wire, whatever, but it's connecting the grounded conductor to the enclosure, all right, which is going to be ultimately connected to the grounded conductor and the equipment grounding conductors that come back to the equipment, which is also ultimately going to be also connected to the grounding electrode conductor as well. But again, that's another topic for grounding and bonding. But anyway, so you can see, and you can create any that you want. I can click this button and create one right here, Article 100, and then down here, definitions, and I can click save it like that. And now I've created a card for myself. Article 100, definitions. That easy. And so a lot of students will actually spend some time creating their flashcards. Now, if you don't want to create them within the unit, then you can come down here and you see that you have a flashcard icon on the bottom right, and that allows you to go straight into your icon portal. So I've clicked it, and now you can go straight into your icon portal. And here you can access every unit database of those cards. Or you can create your own right here within this body, okay? In NRTL, Nationally Recognized Testing Laboratory, okay? Like Youll, ETL, Intertech, which is ETL. So, I mean, you see the power that you have to create your own flashcards, okay? It's the amazing thing is now you're able to do that within the program, okay? Okay, so that's your flashcards. Again, that's available to you. You can either do it at the end in each individual unit, or you can do it down at the flashcards as well. So you have that access. Now, the next thing is something that we've talked about that I want to go over with students, and we're going to do that one night this week because I don't think we've ever done it, is actually look at the competency review questions and some of the more difficult questions. But I want you to see what the competency review is all about because I think it's an important tool, and I think students would agree that the interaction between me and the student here, and I'm not going to get overly wordsy. I'm usually just going to give you a good pep talk, or I'm going to shoot you down, or I'm going to say, you got to get those grades a little better, or I'm going to, if you get 60 or below, I do not give you the answers to the ones you got wrong. I'll tell you which ones you got wrong, but then you need to, I would not be doing you a service if I just gave you the answers, okay? But I also understand it's a time management thing, so when you get over 60, I will give you these answers with the understanding that you're going to go back because, again, you're only going to get out of this program what you put into it. I'm not going to be able to make you succeed. I'm going to give you the tools, but you have to be diligent enough to do that. So let's look at the review questions here. Now, I get a lot of students whose scores will come in lower and they have read the material, but what they're not doing is realizing that they can actually utilize the textbook while they're doing this. And since this is Unit 2, the textbook, you can just search for Unit 2, okay? So at any rate, so here you see, you click on it, and you can put your code reference in here. And I like students to always put code references. I do not like blanks over here. Nothing ticks me off more than blanks. The whole process here is you're trying to learn the code. It's okay if you have the wrong reference because I'm looking for the answer. Because sometimes in the code, I might be able to find the answer in multiple locations. Now, I might have a certain reference that I'm looking for, but as long as you ultimately come up with the answer, I'm not going to be too harsh on you about it, okay? But I'll do my gentle approach to telling you. So in here, you would basically put, if it was Article 100 that we were dealing with, you'd put Article 100. And I don't have a problem either if you just put 100 in there. I think we all know what that is. I wouldn't be much of an educator if I didn't, so we get it. Now, the answer goes in right here. Now, in this case, now here's the beauty of these competencies. There's some multiple choice, but the majority of these are literally, you've got to give me an answer. I want you to think about it. This allows me to know whether or not you actually read the material or not. And that's important to both you and to me. So in this case, it says, a blank branch circuit supplies 2 or more receptacles or outlets for lighting and appliances. Now, you can use your National Electrical Code and look this up. The competency review questions are based on the material that you just read. So over here on the right, you have your full book. It is available to the student at any given time. So I'm going to click this book. And you'll see the book open. You have a table of contents. You can click on that and see we're in Unit 2. So obviously we're dealing with definitions. Okay, so you have all these definitions here. Now, obviously it's talking about branch circuits, so there's different types, right? There's the branch circuit, there's appliance, there's equipment, there's individual, there's general purpose, there's multi-wire. Okay, general purpose. The general purpose branch circuit supplies 2 or more receptacles or outlets for lighting and appliance. Article 100, okay? That's the answer. So it is general purpose. Now, you're going to learn this. This is all part of your reading material. So it is all here for you in your reading material, okay? So again, there should be no excuse for low competency tests. Now, sometimes they're a little more difficult. It's hard to find them in here, or some are calculations. I get it. But again, I just want you to know that you have access to the book at any time. Now, there's going to become a point in the program where you're going to migrate into using your National Electrical Code. But this is why that you should be doing this. Using the text for this information, and then down here at the bottom, you see what's called the Mega Exam Preparation Exams. Here is where you're going to do practice exams. And I recommend you do at least 1 practice exam a week. And if you've been to any of my streams before, you know these are the practice exams that we use when we do our online training. So you have access to them. There's quite a few of them in here. All right. So again, you should be intermixing these in with all of this that you're doing to get the best effect out of it. Of course, make sure you watch my Identifying the Root video. It kind of helps a little bit. Okay. So along this journey, you're going to do those competency review questions, right? All right. Then you get to the quiz. The quiz is a short and sweet quiz. Every unit has a short and sweet quiz. This, again, is specifically addressed questions. They might seem very easy, but they're specifically addressed for a purpose. And you start your assessment. And here you go. There's only 5 of them in this unit. Blank means capable of being reached quickly for operation, renewal, and inspection without having to climb over or remove obstacles or resort to portable ladders. Okay, service lateral, readily accessible, connected, or grounded. Well, obviously we know the answer to this. We just saw it a few minutes ago. Okay, you can check your work, and here you see it's correct. Okay, now these are just, you can just go through them and submit it, or you can check your work. Again, you're not going to be able to change it. I can't change my answer. It is what it is. Once you accept it, if you start to check your work, then you're already committed, okay? So you get to see this as it goes through, and the scores get graded, and then it puts it on your grade, and all your grades are monitored to see your progress. Okay, so you go through the same logic, and just remember, for example, in this course, you'll have other things that you would follow. Like here, Unit 3, see all these box fill basics, box fill basics, box fill, box fill. These are podcasts or videos. It's expected that you will listen to these in the program, not skip over them. Listen to them, okay? some of the concepts on it are just to reiterate what you've already learned in your lesson. So you've already done the unit. Now you're just listening to it, whether it's in the evening, in the car, while you're in the shower. I actually have mine. Actually play a lot of my podcasts while I'm in the shower. I have just put the phone on, speaker out loud, and play the podcast that way. Many ways to do it. Right before you go to bed. However is your flavor, but you need to listen to them. They're there for a reason, okay? We're trying to get you to the next level. All right, so now once you go through this entire section, you'll have other things here. Check it out. You'll have Ohm's law examples, resistors, a lot of videos that we've sourced out that we think that are really good. Ohm's law, an explanation, electrical current, example problems, electrical current, and explanation. All of this is really good learning material, especially for knowledge-based portions of an exam. Now, this is called the section test, and every section has one. So you've gone through competency, you've gone through quizzes, now you're going to hit the section tests. And the section tests are timed. You get 1 hour to do this. Now I'll give you a look at the section test. Now, many of the students in our program actually say these section tests are harder. And so again, you got 1 hour to do it. And in this example here, the clock starts right away. And you've got 25 in this one. And they increase as you get further on, you'll get more numbers. But here you've got an hour to answer all of these questions. Now, here's interesting. At this point, I would probably use the code book, but there's many people that like to think, can I click on the textbook? And I'm in a section exam, okay? And I wanted to answer that question. Yes, if you want to use the code book, the term labeled, we know is a definition. So we could go to definitions, and then we could go down and see if we can't find the requirements for that. All right, and maybe not in here or not. Let's see here. All right, so if it's not in here, then it means what? That it's in the body of the information of the lesson. Okay, so again, at this point, I probably would utilize, it's all in section 1, so it could be in any of these requirements here. So this one's a labeling. I could go to the introduction, and you get all this requirements down here about labeling, and all is going to be under the wiring and product standards. And that's when it talks about NRTLs like Youll. And here's when it starts talking about labeling. But like I said, when you get to the section, I think it's more pertinent because of how it scrambles the questions that you now have migrated to utilizing the code. Because now we're trying to practice you can't take the textbook in there. So you need to fundamentally start utilizing that, okay? Because it talked about labeling as part of the body of the work itself. And now you're moving on to the code. So that's how I recommend it. Use your textbook and the code for your individual competencies. Use it for your quizzes. Once you get to the end of section, you've got 1 hour. Start utilizing the National Electrical Code for this application here. Okay, if you want to use a textbook as well, you can. And to do it, go for it. All right, let's see here. Let me pull this up. So again, you also have all of this that you can access any of these links that you want at any given time. Okay, another thing that you can do, just so you know, is that you can be in the middle of it, answer it, and then save where you left off, and then you'll have enough time. Obviously, you can't do that in a real exam, but you can here because, again, it's all about you trying to learn, and this is the first instance that you'll run into where we're going to put some kind of timer restriction on you, okay? All right, so let's get off that real quick and just kind of move through it again. So there's your sections, and every one of them is going to have a section. Now, to show you what these look like, I will click on one of these, and you'll see how this looks in your player. So it'll pop up right here. You can make it big screen if you want or whatnot, but I'll play it Here's where you can make it full screen if you want.
Okay, in today's video, I'm going to be going over an explanation, introduction to what we mean by electric current. What is electric current? Now, before you do that, don't forget, subscribe to my channel.
Subscribe to his channel, man. Help him make a buck, right? So that is what we offer in that, and we've kind of pulled those together for you. Some by me, some are not. And then you get into what's called 1 and 2 family or multifamilies and commercial special occupancies. And I'll kind of show you these real quick. The general provisions, you have special provisions, and then the load calculations. And here's my videos that I do on load calc in case you haven't seen them. But in the reading material, you have in here a webinar I did on 1 family dwellings. Here's the fast tracks for Unit 8, the questions 13 through 21 so that people tend to have problems with. So I decided to explain them, and so I did that and embedded it in here. But what I wanted to show you is this, and some of the students print out multiples of these. As you get into the program, you're going to, and I'm going to go back real quick to the beginning, is this will walk you through every component. You notice that it makes reference to 220.12. That's where you're going to get the 3 VA per square foot. And so it's literally going to walk you through the concepts of doing a calculation. It's going to talk about how you gather the information, what are considered appliances, and what are cooking equipment. And then it's going to throw you into one of these little tables here, one of these little, what I call cheat sheet forms. These are what you can print off. You right-click it, you can save it in an image, and then you can print it that way. Or you can go click print over here, and it increased in a large image. And then you can right-click it here. Or you can actually, I think here, hold on, I can't remember how I actually do it. I click print. There we go. And see, I click the print button, and I can print the entire sheet out on my printer. And you can print multiples of these. Okay, and there's one for standard method, there's one for optional method, there's one for commercial, there's one for multifamily, all of these. And what the course will do is once you print this sheet, it will walk you through. It will tell you, here's an example of 1 family. We're going to give you all the aspects of this dwelling. And you need to print this. Again, you could go right here and click print this out so you have a good reference. Now you simply walk through in every box. We're going to talk you through how you calculate it. We're going to tell you where the 3 VA per square feet comes from. We're going to tell you how to do that so that you can walk yourself through the entire process. So that when you're done, you can use the cheat sheet, but what you're going to learn is the step by step by step. Why is that important? Most exams that you get are not, okay, let me repeat it. They are not going to ask you full calculations. Okay, they are not going to have you do it. Now, that's not everywhere. Okay, every state's a little different. But for the core vast majority, they are not going to ask you to calculate an entire dwelling or a multifamily dwelling. They're going to ask you the little pieces. And if you go through this process, 1 component at a time, read the material, focus on each thing, then if they ask you any of these given examples on an exam, you're going to be able to hone in on it, and you're going to understand it. If all they asked me was for the general lighting and general receptacle application, you're going to get it. You know that it's 220.12. You're going to understand it, and that's what we're after here. So that if they ask you any piece, okay, any piece of it, you can answer that question, okay? You're also going to learn things like what's the difference between connected load and a calculated load or demand factors. Remember, calculated load is calculating everything up, and that's the value we get after you apply some type of demand. And the connected load is simply taking the value as it is when you add it all up. That's the given value without anything applied to it. So it kind of talks about all those aspects of it. Anyway, it's amazing, and Charles that came up with this, and many people have copied it through the years. But his concept of how we utilize it and how it's broken down really helps it hammer home. And then again, it talks about the small appliance. Here, kind of talks you through it, gives some extra insight involved in it. Again, you see chevrons. Expects you to go look that up when you see those chevrons, right? Here's some more right here. Okay. And then it goes into the laundry, gives you more chevrons to look up. Take the time in your course, step away, grab your code book, look it up, and I can tell you these are the things that you highlight, okay? Not the whole thing. Don't highlight the whole, just the area that it makes reference, okay? Just the area. And in some cases, when it's a table, all you have to do is highlight the header of the table. You don't have to highlight the whole thing, okay? So anyway, this walks you through the demand factors that are applied in 220.42. It sends you to that table so you can look at it, and it talks about it down here. So again, it does this not only for one family, it does it for multifamily, it does it for non-dwelling applications, commercial. It walks you through each aspect of it, okay? And then, of course, we've bundled some videos on it in order to benefit your learning aspects of this. And you got flashcards that are very specific to this unit. And then you got your competency review. And these get quite difficult. I find that Unit 8 tends to be the hardest of all of the competency reviews because you see it's going to give you 13 through 21. It's going to give you these values, and you got to answer these questions. Now, I found that these were so difficult for some students that that's why I created the video to walk you through it. So I would expect no student to get these wrong on their competence exam. If they do, I know that they did not follow the program because I give you the video that explains how to do these, okay? Now, again, you're only going to get out of what you put into it. Don't have expectations from me. I have high expectations from you. Now, you see it also goes into service equipment, and then you've got the Section 2 test. And again, that's going to test you on all this information that you just learned, and it is going to be timed as well. The same thing for multifamily. Same thing. I get you a multifamily dwelling calculation, standard method. And again, you see the provisions for that. There's the reading material. There's your questions and quizzes, everything, and you see the grades. So here you go, Section 3. The average score is 67.9%. I am not happy with that. My students know that I am not happy with that. The other problem is only 6% of the students have taken that. Do not expect to be successful if you're skipping section tests. There's a reason you invested money in a course. Don't waste your money if you're not going to do it. Don't waste your time. I'm just being real. I don't want your money that bad. What I want is for you to succeed. And that's a big difference, okay? Don't want to waste my time with people that don't have a desire to be successful. I just don't have the capacity for it, the time for it, or the desire to be involved in that, okay? Say what you will, that it's my motivation is to help people succeed. So under commercial, the same thing, non-dwelling load calculations, you get the same sheets. We talk services, feeders and equipment. You have your reading material, flashcards, quizzes, everything's involved in that, okay? So that part's pretty self-explanatory. Now, go down to the special occupancy, hazardous, healthcare. These are very limited because we're only focusing on things that we pretty much think will be on an exam, or obviously some of those sections or those code articles are very small. So we cover those aspects, and where necessary, we'll supplement with material. But again, most of these are pretty self-explanatory when they're on exams. So again, that's not where the majority of your time should be spent, but there is great information here. And you see that there's a bunch of units in there. And then you've got your section test. It's going to culminate in that. Now, only 2%, okay? Look at that. That's 1 out of 65 students that are in this module have done it. Only 1. And he got a 98. When you get this far along in the Section 5, then I expect to see a lot higher numbers than that. And this number right here will start to go down, okay? And then, of course, you have this challenge mode. This is do at your own pace. I find this pretty wonky and not really very good. So I'm tempting to turn it off because don't be emailing me asking how to use this simulator because I can't even figure it out myself, but it's in the program. If you want to mess around with it, it's included. Enjoy it. Have at it. Now, again, the exam questions, you have a bunch of them, and I think that they're some of the best ones in the industry. Now, 11 out of 65 students have done this one, and they're averaging 76. 8 out of 65 has done this one, averaging 86. Let's go down to where we got some of the lower scores. And Of course, the scores look pretty good, but then you go look at the numbers. Only one person out of 65 in this module, and certain modules, have only done it. Now, I have 4 group modules that I have accumulated for January, February, and March. There's a module that has probably some of our better students in it. And everybody's, I love all my students. But we have certain students that are in certain modules that are doing very, very well. And I think it's because they're very motivated. They need to get that exam. They need to learn. So they're doing it. But these down here, I usually say mix one of these in every week. Okay? After you've done your training for a couple hours, throw one of these in here. Test you. Okay? That type of thing. Now, take these as often as you want. And the questions get scrambled. So take it at your leisure. But when you get about a week out from your exam, then you should start taking these and get a timer, get your phone, and go on in there and set your timer for 2 minutes. And then go boom and start the timer and answer the question. You're going to start conditioning yourself. What I don't want you to do is if you struggle a little bit, don't get down on yourself. This is a lot of information. I just need you. You're going to be fine. Trust me. All right. And then, of course, at the end, we have the final exams. And these are usually 100 to 100 plus questions. It is timed. Okay. And again, we've only had 2 people of 65 take this, and they're averaging an 80. I'd like them to be a little higher than that. I've had 3 of 65 do this one, and they're only averaging 72%. And nobody's taking this one. Now, just because this says residential electrician, this says master electrician, this says journeyman, listen, don't worry about the title of the exams, because you've heard me say this over and over. I am not a believer in teaching somebody to pass a journeyman and not teaching to pass the master. Code is code. Usually when people do that and they section it off like that, they're just trying to draw money from you. They want to teach you the journeyman so that when you come back to get your master's, you have to buy it again. Now, I'm okay with that. After a year, you want to come back and you may be on a different code cycle and you want to invest in it. That's fine. But if you learn to pass your master's, you learn to pass your journeyman, you learn to pass your apprentices by learning the fundamentals of the National Electrical Code, then it doesn't matter whether it's journeyman, master, or whatever, appliance, or whatever it is. It's all code-based. That's all that should matter. Code. And that's all I'm concerned with. Okay? All right. So now a little bit of the right side here that you might see on your screen. You have a bunch of these modules over here. Obviously, this blue one is the book, which is available at any time. Study Hub, you've got your speaker. You can change the dialect and the cadence of the speaker. All these other ones you can play with. They don't really do much unless you're an educator. Over here, flashcards, again, you can create them on the fly. If you make any highlights or you make any notes during your lessons, something that you want to keep track of, or maybe you want to copy something that you want to copy and paste and send to me because you question it, that's fine. So let me show you how you would do that. So let's say we're in Unit 2, and I go to the reading material, and I'm reading something, and I go, I just don't understand it. I need to ask Paul about this. Okay, so let's say I don't understand this right here. I'm just going to highlight it. So this is 2-1C1. I'm going to highlight this. I left click it and drag it, and I'm going to highlight that, right? See how that's highlighted? Now, later on, I'm going to go to my study hub. And in my study hub, you're going to see study guides, notes and highlights, and bookmarks. Of course, you can bookmark any page. But if you go to the notes, and I probably got a bunch of them in here from other lessons, but here's the one in Unit 2, and if I click on it, you see the one that I made here, 2-1C. Now watch when I click on it. It brings up the information that I highlighted. You could literally left-click, drag over it, right-click, copy it, paste it in an email, and send it to us, and we will help explain it. Okay? So that's the beauty of that. Okay? If you want to go to this location, then you just click the arrow and you'll watch over on the left side of the screen. It will actually take you to that area of the code so you can pick up where you left off. Okay. And if I want to delete it, you click delete and you see that it disappears. Now I have a bunch of them in here for different lessons that I've done. Bookmarks. If I want to bookmark this page, I create a bookmark. Now see, I created that bookmark. There's the bookmark that I just created right there so that I can pick up where I was. I click on that, and again, that becomes the reference, And of course, over on the left, it's going to take you to that location for the reading so you can continue where you were off before. Again, you can print any page that you want at any given time. Those are the most important features on the right. The other stuff is kind of wonky. It's not really a need for any of that in your studies. So that kind of gives an overview of everything that's involved in here, okay, in the program. Now, you do have the search feature right here that you can search. So if I were to click that and click labeling, this is a pretty powerful, because now it's going to bring up all of the aspects to that term labeling. Okay, so Unit 1, labeling, I click it. And now it's going to bring up that portion in the reading material. So that's a search feature. And here it is where it references labeling. Okay, and this is what I talked about earlier when Unit 1 was given the information. Listed, labeling, all those type of things are going to be all here. Again, so all of that is available to you at any given time. Okay, so that kind of that gives the overview of the program. I'll come back to me, and we'll see if I can catch up on any questions that anybody might have. Let's see if I can catch up. I got to go back a little bit and see this. So keep asking them if you want to ask them. It's a lot of activity tonight. Let's see here. Wow, I got to go back quite a ways. Let's see here. Adrian, can I help you learn the NEC cover to cover? Again, if you're trying to say cover to cover, whereas you memorize everything from cover to cover, then my answer is going to be absolutely not, because I don't memorize everything from cover to cover. I know a lot about this code book, but I ain't wasting my time. Even though over the years I've pretty much learned majority of the information, there's new stuff in here I learn all the time. You don't want to learn it cover to cover. You want to learn how to manipulate it and maneuver it from cover to cover. Can the Fast Trax program do that? Absolutely, it can. And you're only going to get better the more you do it. Let's see here. Adrian. You're on the 2014. This program is based on the 2017. Although the exam questions do cover 2014, so it gives you both. The point is, even if you're covering 2017, there's not going to be enough differences that's going to cause you to fail an exam. There's not. Basically, the fundamental stuff doesn't change. Okay, securing and supporting, placement, code references, some of them might change, but it's not fundamentally going to be enough that would cause you to fail an exam over it. Okay, and that's the same when people go to the 2020. Okay, so there's not enough differences that's going to cause you to fail an exam. If you miss one question or two questions because of a difference in code cycles and you fail, don't blame it on the code cycle. You should not. You can miss more than two questions on an exam and still pass it. You can miss quite a few on an exam and still pass it. If you're that close and you want to blame one or two questions because you studied the 2017 and your test was on the 14, don't fool yourself. Don't lie to yourself. If it makes you feel better, that's fine. But I am not into this self-patting on people's back or trying to make them feel bad. If you failed it, you failed it. Study, move forward. I think we got too much, people want too much coddling. It is what it is, but you're not going to fail an exam. If you fail by one question, then you have to remember, you didn't fail by one question. If you and I hate to be brutally honest with people, if you fail by one question, remember, you probably missed 15 or 20, depending on the number of questions on the exam, already, okay? So no, you didn't fail by one. Yes, you failed technically by one, but you still did not pass. So again, the focus shouldn't be dwelling on the fact that you failed by one. The focus should be dwelling on the fact that you need to learn the code better so that when you walk in there to test, you don't have that anxiety, you don't have that stress. You're just like, nail it. And that's what we try to do. I want you to nail it. But don't get negative. Again, get back into it. Get back on that high horse, okay? Let's see here. What else do we got? Yeah, Jay uses a 2020 with the 17. Again, most of the stuff I do in this course, to be honest with you, I use the 2020, even though it's 2017, because I can tell. Here's the thing. When you use a cycle that's newer than what you're testing on, then you get to see when you look up something in the questions, if it's grayed out, you know that there's a change. So that just makes you stop and go, oh, there was a change. that type of concept. But it doesn't change the flow or flavor of how you go through the program. It doesn't. All right, so for example, Jay is studying for the ICC inspector's test. So a lot of people in our program are doing that as well, because any national electrical code based exam is perfect for the fast tracks. It's based on code. Okay. Now, the only thing that can catch you, and Jay, I'll say this to Jay and others, if you're studying for an ICC exam and it's the residential, for example, they like to use the ICC. Okay. And the NEC is what I tell people to learn, because eventually you're going to take the commercial one and you're going to need to know the NEC. The residential IRC is only good for residential. But here's the thing. In the ICC, there's a table in the back of it that correlates with the NEC, so that you can see what E number it might be in the ICC. Just get used to knowing what you're looking up, going to that table real quick, looking and seeing what, maybe it's 314.28, and then you go to it and you look to the left, it'll tell you what E section it is or what it is for the IRC. So get used to doing that. So that's a little tip that I tell inspectors that are doing the ICC stuff. Get to know the code, because you don't want to have to start from scratch when you start to go for your commercial license. If you're just getting your residential electrician, residential inspector license for electrical, don't have to start over again. Learn the NEC first, and then learn how to maneuver that little table that's in the IRC if you're going to take an ICC-based exam. And once you do that, you'll get it. It's the table's right there. And nothing in the IRC is any different than what's really in the NEC. It correlates, okay? So it should be a no-brainer. Shouldn't have any problem with that. Let's see. Let's see. How do you prepare take the master's electrician exam? Exactly like I just said. Get the fact that you're studying for a journeyman or a master or apprentice out of your mind. Think of it as just an electrical exam. Focus on it. The only difference between the residential is that typically they're going to talk more about placements, 210.52, all those general requirements, and less about things that have to do with healthcare facilities or whatever. But there's so few of those questions that really, why set yourself back? You should really focus on just learning it in the broad spectrum than it is to try to isolate out and segregate residential versus commercial. It's not necessary when it comes to the NEC. Learn it all from an overall perspective. That's the best way to approach it. That way you're not starting over. If you're a journeyman going to a master, once you get a master, okay, then you need to know the master stuff, your journey. But if you're a journeyman and you only want residential, or a residential wireman, at some point, you're motivated people. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You're going to want to go to the next level. And if that's the case, do you want to have to start over again? No. Just learn the NEC and keep it general. Don't fall into this thing where somebody wants to sell you a journeyman's or somebody wants to sell you a master. Study the code. Don't fall for that trap. It's just usually a money grab trap. CAD question. Charleston says, my state has CAD questions on the master tests. I'm not aware of that on any other tests. No masters in Virginia, not in Texas, not others. So again, every state can do their own thing. Some states like to pound their chest and write it. North Carolina is famous for that when it comes to their tests, and everybody's different. The problem is, if you understand the National Electrical Code, you still are going to increase your odds, because they're not going to have enough CAD or enough OSHA or enough legal parts on it that's going to drag you down. Now, those are things that they expect you to know anyway, whether it's CAD questions or OSHA questions. The state will give you a handout. If it's PSI, they'll tell you what you need. And you go to that state and you can download it. And again, they'll even let you take that book in there many times when it comes to, like, Colorado. There's a book that they'll recommend, for example, that just deals with the legal part. I don't teach that. I don't get involved in that. Now, with that said, if you do have a state that has legal, we are affiliated, and I'd appreciate it if you go to our CEU Depot no, excuse me, it's MyCEU Depot, DEPOT.com. And our affiliate program with that, go to that state that you're in, and they probably do have a legal course. I know that they do. So you can buy that course if you want. It's separate, but they are available at myceudepot.com. And yes, you can get the legal ones or the safety ones as well through our partnership. I just don't offer them because I deal in a bigger spectrum. I'm really working with the NEC. Okay. I'm not really trying to get down in the micronisms of each individual state. I prefer to teach the NEC. That's just me. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? Yep, and I'm very familiar, Tim, with North Carolina. Bunch of fine folks down there. I used to serve on a co-panel down there every time they'd have their little series down there when I was with NEMA. Great bunch of folks down there. Alan Parrish is ahead of the testing for that state. So he's a great guy. So Alan Parrish. Love North Carolina. I'd probably be living in North Carolina if I'm not in Texas. Let's see here. First thing I should also, and I've heard it mentioned a couple of times, PSI. You should always go to psiexams.com. I think it's .com or it might be .org. I think it's .com. And check to see if your state administers a test through PSI. Because if it does, then they'll give you a bulletin. And in that bulletin will tell you what reference documents, what you can do and what you can't do in an exam. Now, if that test is not administered by them, some states also use the ICC. So all you have to do is go to the ICC website and you can get your reference material or the prerequisite requirements, or I shouldn't say prerequisite, what you can take into your test center. That. And you can get that. Okay? Let's see here. What other questions that we have? Seeing what my state, Pennsylvania. That requires some CAD. Just learn it. Learn the CAD. But it's probably going to be very much the basics of CAD. Now, I had that when I went to engineering school, but again, I hated engineering anyway. So, so that part of it anyway. So, let's see here. Yeah, again, that Brian, you're probably true. If I had to break down the course and the amount of time that I'm involved in it, or the one-on-one or answering questions for people, I don't know that I could. It's really priced. Most people know that I dropped the thing almost, I think, 50% on what it was because I wanted to reach more people. Again, I don't know, and I think with the 2020, it is going up to 335. Versus what it is now, and I can't remember. I think it's 315. So it is going to go up because the LMS fees went up a little bit. But I'm going to try to keep it as affordable as possible. And again, 24/7, 365, you can access it and go through these programs. Definitely. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, the search feature. I probably didn't show that, Tim, to a lot of people. Again, I just kind of forgot it was there, but search feature, definitely. Yeah, most all the tests are going to be based on the National Electrical Code because that is your basic electrical code standard. Okay, it's a minimum safety standard. So, I don't see any other questions. I don't believe. I don't know if there's a refresh button, and I assume that everybody's still on and I haven't dropped and the stream is still going. I would hope so. It looks like it is. It didn't show that it dropped anywhere, so I guess everything's still going. And I didn't, like I said, it didn't have any drop. And I think I answered. Okay, I think I answered everybody's question on the program. So, does anybody else have any other questions about the program? We did change the front of our website. If you go there, masterthenec.com or electricalcodeacademy.com or .net, whatever. I have over 60 domains, so mastering the NEC, master the NEC. Yes, Texas is on PSI. And there's a PSI guide for Texas that tells you. Good thing about Texas, for example, you can write in the front of your code book. And you can put your formulas and all that kind of stuff in your formula. Now, let me make an announcement, because I should do this, and again, I shudder to do this, but I literally got I think, I can't remember, Brittany told me, because she forwards them to me. I literally today got my probably 500th request, or some awful number in the last month or two, about will I do an exam prep 2-day course, kind of like 8 hours each day. I literally loathe that. I literally talk against it, but there's a difference. Then if I decide to do one, it's obviously not going to be free, sorry, but because I'm going to be captioned in it for 2 full days, 16 hours, as you will is also. A lot of those cram courses teach you to do certain things. They teach you to label everything and label it down this side and label it this side, or they'll sell you a book that's pre-labeled with hundreds of dollars and all this kind. I'm not into that. And I'm also not into teaching you shortcuts, okay? Now, there's certain things that you'll remember, okay? There's no shortcut when it comes to remembering that Article 100's definitions, okay? Article 110 is the general requirements. Article 200 is grounded conductors. There's no shortcut for all of this applications. It just takes time. And I believe tabbing too many tabs is detrimental to your success. The tabs that you buy from a pre-done tabbing, whatever you buy. In fact, I've got a list of ones that I recommend over on Electrician Live. There's a little link that says Paul's Picks. I have picked out some that I think are the best. Personally, they're easy tabs, so you can get them anywhere. But I point them out. That is all you need. Do not get into freaking tabbing out everything and think that that's going to help you, because what happens in an exam, it's just brain overload. And when you see that clock ticking down and you've got all these tabs and you start sitting there hunting for all these tabs, what I want you to learn is when you look at the question, either you can use the index, which is not a saving grace. It might help you, but it's not going to be the end to meet all. But you're going to find something that tells me this is dealing with luminaires. So I want to know that I'm dealing in 410. Or this is something that deals with overcurrent protection. I want to be in 240. Or maybe this is an overvoltage question for a surge protected device or something. And I'm going to be in either 280 or 285 if you're in the 2017. Or if you're in the 2020, I'm going to be in 242, which is a new article. I want you to get to that level, right? I don't want you to rely on gimmicks. I don't believe in this gimmick crap. I really don't. It's learn the code. And again, I struggle just like you. I have my days where I wake up and it's like foggy and I can't remember something for nothing. I'm getting old. Okay. But also with you, if you're not getting old, it's probably because you have so many things concerned in your life between family, your work, the stress of doing better for your family or meeting certain goals. I get it. All those things can have an effect on how we learn. That's why we created the program, in order to try to make it be retentive so that you can remember it and retain it and be able to recite it, that type of thing. Okay? So, kind of those things to remember it. So, we got a couple other questions here. Anthony, I took my CTE1 prep class and the instructor didn't teach other than recent code questions, not how to find random answers. Not a good instructor then, Anthony. I'm sorry you had to pay for that. Sorry you had to be involved in that. And again, I'm going to apologize ahead of time for any instructor out there, where all instructors have merit. All are different. All of us bring something to the table. We're not all the same. I am by no means the best. Absolutely not. Never want to be, never claim to be. But the literally hundreds and hundreds of emails that I get from students, I have not yet once got a negative comment about the Fast Track program. Not once. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it better than reading the book? Is it better than just watching DVDs? Is it better than yes. But it's all what you put in it. You're the only one that can succeed. I'm just here to give you the tools, be there to answer the questions to the best I can answer them. And trust me, if I don't know the answer, I revolve around a circle of friends who we will know the answer, and I will get you the answer. Okay? So in our programs, we have also the residential, the commercial, industrial. I'm also one of the co-authors for the residential and commercial programs. The grounding and bonding book that we have our program based on. All of these are out in the 2020 edition, by the way. I helped write certain chapters in those books as a co-author. So I'm intimate knowledge with those books. Thank God that Cengage has, allowed me to be a co-author with them. Thanks, Phil Simmons, who is an amazing man who allowed me to be in that venture with him. I love it. I love working with Cengage, and I love the program. But more importantly, I love the fact that I am able to customize the LMS to my needs. That is what's important to me. If I had to pay for that, I don't even know what price I could put on that. So I don't mind the amount that I have to pay of that $315. A large chunk of that goes to the LMS. I don't mind it. Why? Because it makes the backbone stuff so much easier for me that I can just focus on grading and giving advice and steering you where I need. I'm willing to pay for that. Some people want it all and say, well, if I get an LMS system and I pay for it, then I can charge a fee and I get to keep all the money. It's not how I work. I don't own the LMS, okay? Because if I own the LMS, it wouldn't have anybody's name on it but mine. I don't have the LMS. I pay for the LMS because it allows them to have to keep it up to date, keep it relevant. They have to back up the data. And then I get to get in there and tweak the heck out of it and do whatever I want. Add this, that, whatever. That's why I like it. Okay? That's why I do it. Let's see here. Agree, Jay and Paul is a... Well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. I just do what I can to try to help you learn. Again, I'm not perfect. And I always say, and I will call Jay out. Jay, there's many people that are in our programs. Brian's the same way. There's many of them that are in the program that are the same way, who don't accept the status quo. If you read something and you don't understand it or you don't agree with it, send an email. That's that good feature about bookmarking it or highlighting it, copy and paste it, because you can send it and ask me. And I am more than happy to clarify. And if I can give any additional insight, I will do it. That's what you're getting out of the Fast Track program. Try doing that to a book you buy or a DVD set that you buy or something like that, or other books that you buy on exam prep. See if the author will answer your questions in in-depth detail. Chances are they don't want to because they can't put that time in there. Okay, I'm willing to put that time and make that investment in you. But when you get in this program, don't get in it half-heartedly. Get in it to win it. That's the key. That's what I want from students. Okay? Be committed to it. I can help you succeed. If you fail in your exam, get with me. If that means we have to do a one-on-one to focus on your review of what you got from your exam for your weaknesses, we will do it. I am committed to you succeeding. That's a big commitment on my end. Okay? Many people that know me know I put a lot of hours in at the detriment to my family. Okay? But they've understood that for my entire career. All right? So, they're okay with it. And I can't turn the clock back. And my kid's grown up and moved away now. So, is what it is. Okay? I'm committed to you as long as you are committed to the program. I want you to succeed. I want you to have everything that you want to have. Okay? Let's see here again. Yes, you too, Tim. I'm sorry. You were right. I saw you in here. You definitely, and that's what I like. I like students that won't just take. I am one of those guys that sit in a room, and if a speaker's saying something, I don't do it as I'm not a prick. Okay? I would never call somebody out like that unless we're on a committee and then they're just trying to sell the committee some green cheese. But what I might say is, can I have a talk with you offline? I got a question. because every educator should want to learn themselves. Okay. And there's a difference between some educators. They don't want to learn. They know it all. I do not know it all. I know a fair amount of this book, but I like to learn too. It's a learning process. And I've done this for over 30 years, and I'm always excited to crack this book up. So people ask, why do I serve on code panels? I love it. I love learning what other people send in. I don't want to wait until it gets out in the printed document. I want to be in the development stage so I can see what people are doing. That's what I care about. Okay? And hopefully I convey that to you and that you gain something from it. Okay? Well, good luck, Hector. I hope you're testing this Saturday. I'm surprised that, some of the test centers, I guess, are opening up. I haven't been following that. But again, hopefully they're opening up and people can start getting those tests. The one thing I will say COVID has done is I come to two concepts today with this COVID thing. Number one, it's helped people reconnect with three things. One, it's helped people reconnect with their families. And two, it's helped them have the time to study. I hope so. If you've been sequestered at home and you have been lacking on your study, you only have yourself to blame. And third, while all the restaurants around the country are hurting, I don't think McDonald's is hurting. Because if I went to McDonald's today and that line was just blowing, I'm thinking since they don't have to pay people to work inside the building because they've closed it, they're actually reducing their labor and they're just making a killing. So McDonald's has got to be loving COVID. Don't let them tell you anywhere that, my business is hurting. That's bull. Chick-fil-A too. They're probably kicking it. I'm just saying. They don't have to pay the people. They don't have to pay to clean the tables. Skeleton crews, baby. And making the money. Making the money. All right. Anyway, good luck, Hector. I hope if you have any questions or trouble or, I want you to be confident. But on the effort that you got to remember that if something happens, don't get down. Get motivated. Get motivated. Okay? All right. Well, I don't know that I have anything else to say. I will put out an announcement tomorrow on my Facebook page. Hopefully you follow us on Facebook on the exam prep forum. I will put an announcement tomorrow if I'm going to have training tomorrow night, which again, we'll use a competency review, and I'll do some of the ones that people find a little harder. And we'll do that. But I don't know, and I'll let you know tomorrow. So if you stumbled onto this, we do this every week. Usually on Wednesdays, I do something to do with the fast tracks. But if I don't have anything scheduled for fast tracks, then Wednesday night, I usually go into code and just talk code. But tonight I had two people that were interested in learning more about the fast tracks. So they scheduled an appointment, which you can do from the website. And so, that type of thing. So again, the other way to know if I'm on or not is when I log in, it'll send you a notification. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you click the notify, the little bell or whatever it is on the YouTube thing. Do that as well. But I also will usually let you know on Instagram as well as on Twitter and all those type of platforms as well. Okay. And usually it's about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time when I do that because I got to get other stuff out of the way. So again, that's Central Standard Time. Okay. So 8 o'clock here, it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast, and it kind of goes that way as you go west. But that's usually what we do with it. But that's usually where I get the announcement. But again, I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow night or Friday night. Okay, it'll be one of the two. Right now, I have a commitment. I need to see if that finishes up. And if it does, I would get it out of the way. So we'll do it Thursday night. As I know, a lot of people want to go out and, I was going to say go out and spend time with the family on Friday night, but everybody's probably still at home. So what can you do, right? And I know y'all don't want to spend double the amount of time with me. Come on now. Come on. Even though I am wearing my blue shirt. Who was that? Jay? Jay liked my blue shirt? So, all right, guys. That's all I've got to tonight. I'm not going to go into any code tonight. We're going to save that for tomorrow night. Question Holmes asks about you do not get the book. If you want to buy the book, we can give you, there's a link to that you can get, that I can give you, that links you to the book. You get access to the book online to print any pages you want for 365 days. Again, so it's incorporated into it. Our program does not give you a physical book. Okay? Does not. Hey, Jay. Brittany said somebody ordered a Code Mafia t-shirt. I hope you like it. Remember, if you don't like anything you get from our electricianpride.com website, yell at them. The back at the Teespring is the one that does all those for us. So again, I do encourage people to be careful about getting the dark colors like the dark blues and things like that, because a lot of the logos, look at the example on the screen first before you buy it, right? So that you're careful, because it doesn't look good with dark lettering on the dark shirt. Although it's still not so bad, it just doesn't look as good. And I don't have any of the white logos in the opposite version of it. So just be careful of that when you do it. I do know that the new one that has the ohms wheel on it looks really awesome on black shirts and black hoodies. I had somebody send me a picture of one. It looks pretty cool. So at any rate, so anyway, yes, that's Electrician Pride. And lastly, for those that want to support us or wonder how they can support us, you have options. We have Patreon, which you can go support us on Patreon. Again, that is Patreon, patreon.com/Master the NEC. And that is a subscription, and it's based on the 2020 National Electrical Code. That's really all that's there. But you get to ask questions there, and I directly reply to your questions. I think Jay's a subscriber, and he contributes to that. And it is a monthly commitment. Of course, you can reduce it or whatever at any time. And it's 3 different tiers. If you don't want the VIP level, just go for the regular level, and you'll still get access to everything. So we're going to be adding more stuff to that. But the biggest thing is you get access to the newsletter on the 2020 changes if you're a VIP, and that pretty much covers a lot of your expenses, because I think the annual subscription to that is $150 So anyway, things to think about. You can always change your subscription down or up or whatever. It's up to you. Okay, it's kind of a love offering, if you will. So anyway, I appreciate all of you and everything that you do. Again, I tell people, one of the beautifulest days that I ever had in my life was beyond the birth of my child and marrying my wonderful wife of 30 years, is when I became an electrician. Not my engineering stuff, none of that stuff that simply cost a lot of money and you had to pay for it. The earning electrician. Don't let anybody ever tell you that their trade is better than your trade. They are full of crap. You're an electrician. You're supertricians. You're special. Okay? You're the givers of electricity. You're the givers of light. Okay? Always think about that. Take a lot of pride. You're part of the electrical brotherhood. Always remember that. Take a lot of pride in that. Again, a lot of electricians out there, and you can like me or hate me or whatever, but I'll give you the utmost respect in this industry for being in this trade. And I literally love this trade. Okay? So, at any rate, that's it. I got nothing else, my friends. I appreciate all of you for coming in and paying attention to me. I realize, again, being away from family and all that, I'm very humbled in the fact that you care enough to attend these sessions and learn a little bit about. And it really is the ones that are already in the Fast Track program that attend. I mean, again, what an amazing group of individuals that we have in these programs. Someday, I'm hoping we all meet somewhere, when this COVID's over and I'm doing a seminar somewhere around the country and I'm in your area, let me know. And I will see that you get the ability to attend for free and you can attend it. I'd love to meet you. Again, that type of scenario, again, it would be awesome to meet everybody in different times. So that's it. Anybody else have anything else they want to ask about the program? And again, so these are students that are telling you about the program. Okay? So anyway, what I got to mention is somebody asked me, again, I told you I got over 500 requests in the last month or two. Am I going to do a 2-day crash course on exam prep? I don't know. I am on the fence because you know how I loathe that. But as long as I don't teach you shortcuts and little tricks that I know you'll forget, but I structure it into what you really need to know, and if I can come up with a way to take the fast tracks and condense it into a 16-hour, 2-day course, I will let you know, and it'll be webinar based, and you'll know about it. Okay? But right now, I'm on the fence. I just don't know yet. I don't know if I want to get involved in that yet. Again, it would go against some of my core beliefs, and I'm on the fence. My wife says I'm crazy, but I'm gonna hold off. But I just want to give you, I have heard you. I had heard people's emails. I acknowledge it. And I think I could do a pretty good one because I've done these type of things before. But that wasn't the reason I created the fast track. So I'm going to try to hold off and see. Let's see here. Fast tracks. In the fast track, do you get access to Cengage books? I was wondering. You do not in this program. They have Cengage has a program which is unlimited, and you have to pay for that unlimited. Okay. I originally was going to do that to let people, but they got so confused with the other books and everything that they were doing that they didn't focus on the course at hand. And my course isn't related. In other words, you can't get into my course by just doing something from them. You have to do it through me, or you can't get into my course. So I stopped doing that. I did it for the ultimate guide, but again, that was, a $1,200 course, and it was a 90-day program. And I figured it would give other access to other books. But no, my program is only focused on my program, and you only get access to our book for that application. Okay? Now, you can get a Cengage 14-day trial, and I think the unlimited trial, that'll let you look at everything for 14 days. You just can't get into my program that time, unless, of course, you're in the program. But yeah, it is available, definitely. And I do have that option, but it jacked the price up for the program too. It would have put me back up to where it was before, and I just didn't want to do that. Because most of the people that are in my program are there for the reason, and I want them to focus on my program, that type of thing. You know what I mean? But they are available, definitely. It's called Cengage Unlimited, is what it's called. All right, that's it. I don't have anything else to give. I've given all I can give. For those that wanted the course, hopefully you got something out of it. For those that wanted the demo tonight, if you've asked your question or you didn't ask your question, I don't necessarily see I don't necessarily see y'all posting anything, and I know the two individuals that were supposed to come tonight, and I don't see you posting, so I'm going to assume you're sitting in the background. Don't be shy. We're amongst friends. If you have any questions, now it's time to ask, because when it's over, when I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm going to bolt out. Okay? Yeah, Brian, we might do something instead, and maybe just do something. Maybe I won't sacrifice my core fundamental belief by doing something specialized that just focuses on the core stuff. Maybe. We'll see. There's enough interest in it. I might do it. Okay. All right. That's it. Anything else? I'll give you a few seconds to answer. Hopefully the stream went good tonight. Everything went okay. Did it have that much of a delay or anything? I don't know. Assume it went okay. I know that at one point it looked a little bit delayed, but it's all good. And usually that has nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with the stream and everything like that. So, okay. There you go, Matt. Spend that quarantine time well. Yes, utilizing the quarantine. People are learning new things, new hobbies, while they're in quarantine. Hopefully you've learned to master the NEC during your quarantine. All right. Yes. Thank y'all again. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you got questions, write them down for tomorrow night or Thursday or Friday night. I got some of you from emails. I still have them, but it's probably better to just let us go through the competency, and I'm going to pick the ones that I know based on statistically the students have trouble with, and they're the ones that I'll probably talk about. Okay, and we'll do that. Okay, so again, I don't know if it's tomorrow night or Friday night, but just stay tuned for it, or subscribe to the channel, and you'll get a notification when I'm on. And let's nail it. And so everybody get to your studying. All you people in the Fast Tracks program, you know who I'm talking to. Make sure you go take some of those practice exams down there. I want to see you. I want to see you take them. Take them again and again and again. I want to be seeing 90s, 95s, 98s. That's what I want to see. If you don't, if you get something in the low 80s, take it again. That's my action item for you. Take it again till you get those scores up high. All right. All right. Appreciate all of you. Y'all know I do. Okay. So till next time, folks, stay safe. God bless. You've been listening to Electrician Live with your host, Paul